Naked heavy rain. Hello. Sorry for my shaky camera. I'm trying to get a good spot set up. I'm okay. I was trying to play a game, but my PS5 is being a brat, and we are trying to move some stuff around to the external hard drive and see if that helps. So I decided I would go ahead and do a Stitchy Live instead for now. Because it says I have 94 minutes before all of the stuff is moved. I am working on the Rainbow Evolutions. Give me a second. I will pull up the picture and show you. Let's see. Here we go. So that's the one that I'm working on. It's going to be so many colors. It's super adorable. But of course, I'm working right up in, this top corner up here with all of this black. Oh, nice. I just, of course, finished a dragon piece not long ago. So, hey, great. You go ahead and stitch with me because that's awesome. I love when, you can do the same thing as others and hang out. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Well, now you have motivation. Sometimes I get that way too. And then other times I'm like, you know what? Maybe I need a break from stitching because I literally stitch all the time. See, that's awesome. That in itself is an accomplishment. How many pages is that one that you're working on? I just don't know how people do all of these. See, I mainly cross stitch, and I do some diamond painting, and then I like to play RPGs. So that's pretty much where I kind of gravitate towards. Oh, well, seriously, that's a lot of pages, in my opinion. This one is the biggest one I've ever done. So it's something seeing something so big because, like, I feel like I should be like a quarter of the way done with this piece already. And yeah, it's not even close to a little bit. I haven't done any diamond painting in a while. Once I finished the last one that I was working on, I just kind of left it for a while. Oh, wow. See, that's a lot. How long have you been working on it? I've only been working on this one for, I think, almost a week. and I'm only sitting at 3,000 stitches. You got this. I actually finished a bookmark earlier that it was one of the projects that I've been doing, leaving in my glove box, but I wanted to finish it so that I could wash it. Oh, see, I totally get that. Sometimes you just need a break. Like I did one, I think before this, the largest one I ever did was 28,000 stitches, and it took me a little over a year to complete, but that was because I did a ton of little projects in between as well. See, that for a month is quite a bit. I'm like right over 3,000 stitches on this one so far, but the total on it is 391,000. I think that this one's at least going to take me a year, if not longer. It is. And I'm seeing some of these people doing projects bigger than that, like that Lord Libidin epic Pokemon that has the 1 through 5 gen. I think it's like almost 700,000 stitches, if I remember correctly. I've been keeping track of my stitches for the year. So like, since I'm using Pattern Keeper, I have a daily journal that I've been keeping my stitch count in. And so far, as of 6 months, like at the end of June, I was sitting at a little over 125,000 stitches. But I think if I don't end up doing any of the smaller projects or, doing other things, I might be able to finish this in a year. It really just depends. But I did buy the Painted Fairy frame, and I ordered this scroll the other day. They were still 50% off, and then I got an extra 10% off coupon code. And so I did that, and I was like, I'll pay with PayPal, split that up into 6 months, no interest, and I'll have the frame that's going to be big enough to hold this. Because this project, I actually have it almost completely folded in half to be able to put it on the scroll that I have right now. It's funny. Like, I'll show you. So I'm going to zoom out and move the camera a little bit. So my scroll starts over here and then goes all the way like this. And I want to say this is a 28-inch scroll. And so then it's folded in half over halfway. So right to the edge pretty much of where I have the plastic. And then I have it rolled up on the underside and the plastic is holding it in place. So that way I could actually, for one, keep it from getting dirty, but for another, to keep everything from sitting well enough that I could keep it taut while I work on it. It's a lot harder. And what I've found is it's a lot harder to be able to film when I don't have it really stationary. And whenever I have it like on the hoops or something, I find I have a hard time keeping it stationary enough to actually film. Especially considering I work two-handed, and so like it's really hard to get a comfortable spot to actually stitch quickly. But like I can generally, if I'm in a decent spot and I have time to work on it, sometimes I can manage to get about 2,000 stitches a day. I would say though that my average is probably like 600 when I do sit down and work on it for a few hours. See, I'm really slow when it comes to one-handed. I generally only do that when I'm working on smaller projects that are like 5x7 and smaller. Then I'll work one-handed, and use either a Q-snap or one of the Nerge frames. More Q-snaps though, just because in my opinion they're easier to hold. But I'm really excited to get my scroll in because I'm using my frame right now and I'm just sitting my wooden scroll on it. But I can't wait to actually get the aluminum one and be able to display my entire project all in one spot so I don't have to move everything. Thank you for sharing the live. I believe in you. I bet you get it done before 2029. I'm going to say 2027. Even with your other projects and craft stuff that you do. I believe in you. I never realized exactly how much I was stitching until, I started using Pattern Keeper and keeping track of it. And I'm like, I never would have guessed that that's actually how many stitches I've done so far this year. But I have finished, I would say, I think I've finished 9 or 10 projects this year, not counting like the little bookmarks that, took me a couple of days to do. And see, that's totally understandable, not working on it on a weekly basis, especially if you do other crafts. Hey, I thought about it. What? Oh, was it closed again? The vent keeps getting closed because it's right in front of the fridge, so anybody steps on it to grab something out of the fridge can sometimes close it. And we definitely do not need closed vents in this house because it is too hot outside. Like, I feel like it's 80 degrees in here, and I know it's not. I think it's only 73, but boy, this heat is just driving me bonkers. I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So okay, that one. I'm trying to find where I'm at. Okay, so that's where I'm at. I've never actually done any gridding. You've got it. I know the feeling. At least trying to get a minimum amount. That's me. Like, I feel like I'm pushing myself to stitch more, but at the same time, I've just, especially, uh, meeting a ton of stitchers and stuff on TikTok. That's been so motivating to me. Finding people that enjoy the same things that I do, seeing all of these projects that everyone's working on. Like, this was this is a retired pattern. And so I got it gifted to me and I just love it. And I'm actually stitching it for my sister. Actually, did I mess up? I think I messed up. I don't know. I feel like I'm off here and that. Yep. Actually, I'm going to have to take a little bit out. Thank you for sharing the live. Thankfully, I'm only doing, the corner squares for the grids. So it's not horrible. And I'm only, doing it so far at a time. So, what I'm actually working on in that frame. So I'm only doing, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So about 70 stitches down right now. I do have to pull out a little over a row. Technically, it's only for one stitch, but my goal with this pattern and this cross stitch this time is to have 0 mistakes. So I'm trying to be a little bit more meticulous. At least it's not too bad. I mean, I've figured out that I messed up fairly quickly. So like this stitch that I'm pulling right here, this one, I'm going to have to pull out all that row because this is the beginning of the row that I messed up. Although, why is it fighting me? I don't know. Where am I at? Why is it fighting me? That's what I'm going to have to try and figure out. You're a firework? I don't want to fight about it. You want to fight about it? I don't know. Oh, come on. There we go. So it ended up only being like 20 stitches that I'm having to frog. That's not too horrible. Yeah, see, there's been a couple that I've messed up so bad that I literally pulled out the stuff. I pulled out all of the thread off of it, and then I just left it for a decent period of time and then just restarted it later on after the fact when I wasn't so mad at it anymore. It's kind of like you end up blaming the piece that you're working on instead of yourself for messing up. So when you get that way, it's just like, it makes you angry. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why it's lagging. McCracken. Exactly. Yes, I want it to actually look right. And like there are some that I've done that I was okay with working around the mistakes that I made. Especially there was one that I did. It was the watercolor koi. And I did mess up quite a bit on that one. I was working on 28 count and doing 1/1, and I was having a hard time seeing it. So that was already a problem. But then I, of course, have never gridded really before. So I'm also a cross country stitcher. And there were multiple times that I found mistakes after the fact, and I had already done so much around it that I was not going to frog it. But since it was uh, like the color, like the type of pattern looked like watercolors, you really couldn't tell where I made any mistakes. It just kind of blended in. So cross country is where you kind of just go. So like, you know how there's separation of all of these. Some people actually don't go across that, or they don't, travel very far. They do, square by square. And me personally, I don't mind jumping around on a piece. Most people kind of stay within 10 stitches, especially on larger projects. But me, I don't mind, grabbing stitches a lot further away, especially if there's not very many of that color. So I'll generally just, count over and grab those stitches. And a lot of the time, I also pretty much stick with one color at a time too. I'm not going to be able to with this one just because of how large the project is. But when I'm working on some of the smaller stuff, I will generally, if I can, work one color at a time, and I generally work from the middle. See, me too. I jump around all the time. But like most of the time, I'll start in the middle of the project and kind of work my way out in like a starburst kind of thing, and then work, up to the top and then out to the sides and down to the bottom to give me my guide. And then I'll kind of go out from there. But this is my first time actually starting in like the top corner and going from there. I'm hoping that I don't have any issues with it, because I'm going to be really sad if I end up messing up so bad that it causes problems. I really, really don't want that. So I'm mostly staying, I want to say it's going to be about 100 across and then like 70 down in this area first before I move around some. But once I get my other frame in, then I'll probably pull it off of the scroll and actually get it laid out and, on the new scroll completely. The only reason that I wouldn't do page by page is because you can end up with like breaks that you can see where you've got that solid line. And I've always kind of worried about the look of that. So I generally try and at least overlap some of it by 2 to 3 rows in. But since I'm using Pattern Keeper now, it's not, page by page for the most part. I mean, it can be, but I'm generally going a little bit further than the page itself, because I don't want that rigid line from each page to show up on the pattern. That's the only reason that I don't do that more. So like if you have the next page and you just kind of keep it lined up a little bit and maybe go a couple of stitches extra on some of the areas that have the same colors, then it keeps you from having that rigid break. Yep, and that's totally a thing too. That's just, me, that's my personal preference. But everybody's different. Like I've watched some people, and like sometimes you can't tell with me. I don't know if it's just because my stitches are pulled tighter or whatever, but if I did only page by page, you could definitely see a break in between them. Yeah, at least with that, I can just kind of move around. And that is the best thing that I've loved about Pattern Keeper, is being able to select the color that I'm working on and having it highlighted, because I think that's the only reason that I can stitch as fast as I do now, because I don't have to hunt and peck for the different, symbols of the color that I'm working on. Whoever came up with the idea of the digital patterns like this, I would love to give them a hug and say thank you. I've heard other people, using other programs. This one's just the one that I've tried so far. I haven't tried any of the others. I see a lot of people using markup. It is. It's literally like, I finally convinced my mom to do it because she's not really tech savvy. And so she was like, I'll stick with my paper patterns. I'll print the stuff out. I don't mind buying the digital. And then I've got my printer. I'll just print them. And I was like, no, but you don't understand. I was like, you need to try this. Even if you don't like it, I said, at least Pattern Keeper has, a free trial. You can try it out. And then if you like it, then you can always buy the app after the fact. And so I convinced her to download it and try it. And then she was like, I can't understand this. And so I was literally, we live, I don't know, about, what is it, like a 30-minute drive to Mama's house from here now. If we get on the interstate, it's like a 30-minute drive. So I didn't want to actually go there and try and show her and explain it all. So I was literally having mine up and I was taking video of how to import the files, and, what if it shows like a overlap on it, trying to explain it all to her. And she finally got her first pattern, imported and started. And she was like, so I don't understand it still. So then I did another video and another video. And then finally she got to where she could understand enough to use it. And now she's like, you know what? This is awesome. I love this. And see, I've actually tried the whatever it's called, where you can take a picture of it, like the camera function, and take a picture of the pattern and import it. It takes a little while because you have to kind of move the grid around yourself. And so it can take a bit, but I've, imported some of the bookmark patterns that I've been doing, so that way I can still keep up with my stitch count. Now, doing it that way, you can't actually select the colors or the symbol that you're working on. But I did manage to at least get them in so that I could do the small projects and keep track of it that way. But it is a total pain. So like it was like, you know, bookmark size, and I want to say that pulling in one of them alone took me like an hour. I was like, I could probably remake that pattern in WinStitch in faster time than it took me to just import that in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can be tedious. But at least I managed to make it work. So that way when I was working, because the ones that I was doing, the bookmarks, they're the printed kits. And so I didn't really need the pattern, but I just wanted to see how many stitches I was doing on it still. So it was more just a guide than actual using it for the pattern. It all depends on how many pieces of thread you're using and the Aida count that you're using. So like I'm working on 18 count. So I'm using one piece of thread, but I'm doing the loop start method. So it makes it like I'm doing 2. Thank you for the follow. If you're doing, say, 14 count, you can also use, you know, the 2 threads. But like, so if you're working on anything, so say if you're doing a printed kit, because a lot of these printed kits are coming in on 11 count Aida, you would actually want to use 3 strands of thread to make sure it's full enough. Also, one suggestion is don't pull your stitches too tight when you're going through, because that can also affect how it looks. So if you're really pulling them super tight, then you're going to be able to see the Aida through it more. Oh, thank you. I do enjoy some black work too. I'm ready to get into the color, but because most of this pattern in this top corner is nothing but black, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna mess up. And I did just mess up. Okay, don't come at me though. I started it in the wrong hole. Shut up. I was supposed to skip one. That's why I ended my thread on the other one already. Because I was like, no, I needed to do this. So, I'm a dummy. I'm a dummy, I'm a dummy, I'm a dummy, dummy, dummy. I'm a dummy. But thankfully, it was literally only 4 half stitches. So.
Wouldn't Mercury be the hottest planet?
No.
Why?
The internal workings of Venus causes it to be hotter. It burns hotter from the inside.
I don't have a paper of this one, but I do have the picture. Or is that what you're wanting to know? If it's like what it looks like?
And I'm just like, the sun isn't a planet. The kid was laughing his ass off at the comment. He was like,
because I'm using a digital pattern.
To
To stitch it.
Star.
But if you're wanting to see what it actually looks like, oh no, don't mess up.
Space videos. Like,
But this is the project that I'm doing right now. So I'm working up in this top corner right here. I tend to mess up more when I'm tired too. So I totally get that. Especially if I've been stitching for a long period of time and if my eyes get tired. I may not be tired, but my eyes may be tired. And so then I mess up and mess up and mess up. And then I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. All right. Now I skipped my one stitch. So glad I noticed that quicker. That's one of those things too. When you get chatting and just enjoying what you're doing, sometimes your focus is a little less on your pattern and you just, get into a groove. I think I need to move. I had my tablet on the charger though, so that's why I had moved it. Oh, come on. I think if I set it in front of me, it'll make it a little bit easier on me. Maybe I won't mess up as much. Dang. Now I got the hiccups. But once I get to the end of this right here, this will have been 71 stitches since I started, so that's not that bad. Especially considering I pulled like 20 out already. Oh my gosh. Knot it up. There we go. Like I've seen, I don't know how people do parking and such because I'm always afraid I'm going to literally tangle all my threads up. I'm going to miscount, have to pull stuff out. It's going to be, worked over from other colors and I'm going to mess up so much and then I'm going to just want to throw it away. Because I was originally thinking about trying to do parking on this one. I've never actually done it before. And then I was like, you know what? I'm too afraid to mess it up completely with a project this large. So I'm just going to stick with my comfort zone and, work in smaller sections. So hopefully I don't have to worry about that. But I love watching other people and how they do it. I never realized when I first started doing lives on here, the amount of people asking me how I'm stitching two-handed was astounding. I never realized that it was kind of not something that everybody did. And so now thinking back on it, I'm like, am I strange or is this just normal? Because I want to say that the first couple of lives that I did, I think almost every person commented and was like, how are you doing this? But it's just practice, my friends. Years and years of practice. I've been stitching longer than I've been married. And that's a long ass ride. I am kind of in the middle of a page break on Pattern Keeper though. So like this middle section of the row that I'm doing is actually the page break. I agree. I love watching the way that, everybody stitches. It's just satisfying to see so many different ways to do the exact same art form. That's what I love about it the most. And like, I've learned so many different techniques and stuff since just watching other people on here as well. Like, I had never heard of the loop start method. I have never seen the pin stitch method before. I did not know what it meant. When people said, cross country or traveling or frogging, I had no idea what any of those terms meant. So I deep dived into watching other people's content and learning what everybody was calling, the different things. Like the first time I heard frogging, I was like, what in the world am I doing? Watching other people cross stitch is so satisfying. And then like getting update or progress pictures, or like seeing Whip Wednesdays and Finish Fridays. I love that too. Yes. Like sometimes I'll just be watching and I'm like, you know what? I actually want to stitch because of this person stitching. So if I'm motivating somebody else, then that's exciting too. Because I never thought that I would be a motivation for anybody doing stuff. I'm lazy. See, that right there is the best part. The goals. Seeing it, seeing that picture take shape. Seeing, the work that's put into something, especially something like those epic Pokemon stitches, and how far some of these people are in and how long it's taken them just to do, a certain amount of it. And I'm just like, it's dedication to a craft that takes years and years to learn, to be able to do something that massive. Like when I first started watching, I think her name on here was X Stitch, and she was working on a pattern she generated for the Sistine Chapel, and she said it was going to take her like 10 years. And watching her videos and seeing how far she had gotten, I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, Adam. I saw him repost.
Oh, Adam. That's cool.
I love stitch alongs. I think she gravitated more towards Twitch because I think it was easier for her to stream on there. But I still catch her stuff sometimes and I'm like, oh my God, look at how far she's gotten. And it's like those big projects are sometimes, super satisfying to see show up. But then I see some of these people Hello, hello. I see some of the people, doing the big Pokemon one, and I like how some of them are doing it, how they're literally stitching like one Pokemon at a time. So I'm like, wow, that's, you know, they'll ask people, what Pokemon they want to see next, and then they'll stitch that Pokemon. And I'm like, I don't know enough of the Pokemon to actually, put my 2 cents in. And then here I am stitching something Pokemon based. Although I'm doing this for my sister. And, she loves Vaporeon. And of course, this is an Evolutions. So it's not 100%, what she loves. But I feel like I know her fiance is really into Pokemon too. So I know that it's something that they both can enjoy when I'm finished. She just knows that I have a project that I'm doing for her, is all she knows. But she doesn't really have time to spend watching other people's stuff, so I'm not too worried about her finding what I'm doing. She's more on Instagram. That's kind of why I have never minded jumping around when I work on, projects, especially when I start from the middle. So I work from the middle, get me at least a little bit of landmark guides that I can go by and then stitch from there. And so sometimes I'll jump around with one color, or sometimes, I'll jump around just because I want to move further out on the pattern. Yes, this one especially because it's the Rainbow Evolution. So it's literally so many colors. It's just gorgeous. And I ended up the other day, I went to Hobby Lobby and I spent $25 just buying more thread again because I knew I was going to need certain colors. I had my youngin' send me a video of the color. So like I had her send me a video of all this so I could see the stitch amounts on these to go and get some of the colors that I knew I was going to need more of. Yes, Hooby Looby. That's still, it's never going to go away. That one was such a freaking funny video. It was that Hooby Looby. Literally, I was dying laughing.
It was hilarious. It was.
And it's thanks to Adam here that I'm even doing this one. It's the influence. Take the patterns and stitch all the stitches.
My foot is asleep.
I feel like I probably need to just order online. But then at the same time, I'm just like, well, it's like a couple of colors that I may need. And that may be it. So a lot of times I just go and I, get the colors that I need. But I do have drawers with extra. I don't call it a bad influencer. I call it an influencer. Because, pattern collecting is really a thing for you. And so far, it's been fun for me. So it's a win-win. It's not a bad influence at all.
Win-win.
Yes, win-win. He's cute. Let's see. Da, da, da. Yes, enabling is a definitely better word for that. And see, that's insane. 237. Like that right there. Like people say, "Oh, it's just cross stitch. It's not that expensive." Lies. All lies. I don't care what craft it is. All crafts are expensive. I feel like if they weren't expensive, they wouldn't be crafts. And people are like, oh, like especially like for crochet, I've heard people say, oh, it's just a crocheted blanket. It's not that big. Do you know how much yarn costs? Well, Adam does because he's got a giant collection of that too. Thankfully, I think I only bought, I think it was 36 the other day, so it wasn't so bad. Adam, you're being called out. Actually, I think it's admirable having different crafts and hobbies that you enjoy. I think it's awesome. Because I think people that do crafts are just more fun. I may not be artistic in some ways, but I'm constantly getting told, hey, even though you don't think you're artistic, you're still doing art. But I need a pattern to do my art. That's why I haven't been able to do embroidery, because there's a lot less rigidity in embroidery, and I think that I would mess up more. We're all here for it. I absolutely love it. See, I want to say, I think it's 7 or 8 diamond paintings that I still haven't started on yet. And who knows how many patterns. Honestly, I say that when it comes to yarn, you honestly need to be bougie about it, because depending on, the type and, how it's actually done, I like some yarn is just so cheaply made that it ends up fraying and unraveling, and it looks like crap, even if it's just freshly, made into something. It already doesn't look as good. I'm not even I was literally thinking that brand when you said bougie. I was already like, no, because we don't want bottom barrel like that. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, I used to do more plastic canvas, and I always used Red Heart for the plastic canvas just because it was a lot cheaper. But like when I was actually, crocheting stuff, I did not use that brand to make things. I don't think I've ever spent $30 on yarn, but I would love to be able to, because I know that's got to be some nice color and quality. I have watched people on TikTok making yarn, and I'm like, oh my God, that just looks so cool. Would I ever want to do that? Absolutely not. But I do think it's really cool to watch. It just makes me happy. I also keep coming across people that are just, coloring on here doing lives. And I'm like, you know what? That's admirable too, because I ain't got the time to sit around and color either. That's another one of those things that I'm like, oh, but, I'm not good with like color choice and shading and things like that. And I'm like, I don't know how they do it. Make the stuff come alive with crayons and color pencils and markers. And some of the stuff looks so realistic. It's insane. Oh, gosh dang it. Oh, those are just those hiccups that hurt. They're so deep down. I don't know why I keep hiccuping so much. I guess it's because I'm talking more than I normally do. I don't really, unless I'm training somebody, I don't have to talk at work. So I don't do a whole lot of talking. More on live than anything. Well, thank you for the follow. And I would say that my coloring is very basic as well. That's why I'm just like, nah, I'll stick with what I know. And even then, I'm like, hey, I don't know everything either. Like I looked at, oh no, it frayed. Lady Luna Freya. I think I'm just going to pull that out. And we're going to fix it around. I don't even know what I was saying anymore. Ignore me. Well, I mean, to a certain extent, that is. Don't ignore me if you don't want to, but ignore me if you want to. Oh God, what are you doing? Eye contact or eye contact?
He's haunted.
Yeah.
That shit fucking hilarious.
Hey, at least I'm wearing my glasses so I could see it.
Oh my God.
Did you even hear me though, Lily? Nope. Apparently not, because she stopped listening already. That's fine. Don't listen to me. I literally just said don't. Don't do it. Oh, I'm just ditching. Thank you for the heart, me. Have you seen this one yet? The evolutions, the rainbow evolutions. Well, you're in luck because I have it pulled up on my phone. This is the one I'm working on. Very, very, very big. Hello, Tootie. So I am up right in that top corner, right there in the green. I know, it's so pretty. That is so funny. I'm sure that I have some that I will never do. I just thank you, freaking phone, for actually focusing. I'm sure that I have a ton that I will never do, but I actually thought the colors and everything were so pretty on this. I didn't want to pass on it. Aww. Sorry, I had my thread in my mouth. It is very, very big. But hearts. My heartoo. Finger hearts. Oh, I know. I actually ordered it already. I just did the thing and I went ahead and I ordered it and I'm going to make payments on it. When you get an extra coupon code, you do things that maybe you know you shouldn't, but you do them anyways. And my husband is an enabler. And I said, hey, I've got this code. And he said, order it. And I did. Oh, thank you for the roses. That's awesome. Thank you. We love enablers here. I got enabled to do this pattern, so I'm doing it now. And I already have the scroll frame, so now I'm just waiting on the scroll itself. And I'm super excited for that to come in. Like, so excited. But I bet it comes in while I'm in Texas. And so I won't even get to use it the day it comes in, probably. But it should be here by the time I get home. They definitely make a difference. Honestly, like the one that I got from Michaels was awesome, and I used it for a long time. And then I had like, I want to say 4 different frames, and I kind of like mixed and matched pieces to make it the way that I wanted it. Mine just sends them to me and then I watch them later. So like, because he's been working until 3 a.m. So a lot of the time I'm asleep. And so he'll send them to me. And then when I get up in the morning and he's asleep, I'll watch them all. It's just how we talk. We talk in videos. Oh my God. It doesn't want to go up into this stitch, so I'm going to go down into it instead. That was frustrating. Frustrating. I'm just going to fight it. Fight it all day. Fight the system. I feel like I just went rage mode there for a second. Who can say they rage out on their cross stitches? Oh, you know, that's me. He's like, you have to enjoy them right now. I totally get it, though. You aren't kidding. Sometimes they do be tripping. Like, I was getting so angry with that one. Like, it was ticking me off when it doesn't want to go up into the stitch. I just work around it. I be doing what I'm doing, and it's gonna work no matter what. Nothing's gonna stop me. Hey, Ace, you want to bring me that bookmark off the counter over there? Because I finished another bookmark. And I can show you guys. Thank you. It's still a little wet, so it's a little bit darker than it's going to be when it dries. But I washed it this morning. But number 2 dragon bookmark is finished. I was so mad earlier when I was finishing it up. I was angry because this one stitch, this peach stitch right here at the bottom, I did not win thread chicken. And I had to start a new piece of thread for that one stitch. It was literally the last stitch that I had. I was so mad. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I don't have enough to finish one stitch. But I did not. There was just no way I could make it work. See, that's me too. That I miscount a lot. And I'll literally count it 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, I'm right. It's, I got all of it done. And then, nope, I still was off by one stitch. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. How can I count it correctly like 4 or 5 times and it still be wrong? So then I was just like, fine. Hey yo, 150 stitches now. Doop doo doo. Okay, what in the... Okay, I guess I accidentally marked those because that is not even on the page I'm working on. Okay, so I am it's doing it again. And it's not, there's nothing even in that stitch hole. Like, why is it fighting me? Why is it fighting? I zoomed in a little bit. Do you want me to zoom back out some? Is it better if I zoom out some? How's that? Of course, of course. I had zoomed out when I was showing the bookmark, and so then I zoomed back in, and I guess I did it a little closer than I had it before. I have the memory of a pea. I really could go pee right now. Trust me, I get it. I'm like that sometimes too. I can zoom out a little more even if you want me to. I don't mind. Oh. Okay. Good, good, good. I got to make people happy. That's when they hang out. Hey, let's be friends. We got to have all the stitchy people in our corner. And then I think, oh, hey, I follow so many stitchers. I must be following pretty much everybody on TikTok that cross stitches. And then I will come across like 20 more profiles of people stitching a day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how are there so many of us? Because, you know, where I live, this is not a craft that a whole lot of people actually do. Like quilting tends to be bigger here. So still fiber arts, but I love it though. Honestly, I love we can be the invasion force. As long as we don't go to Zahadun.
If you go to
Zahadun, you will die. I'll just nerd out. I'm a stitching nerd. Oh. And my eyes are itching. Did yard work yesterday, and I got a piece of dirt in my eye, and it's been itching me ever since. I managed to at least get it out, but it still itches now. I don't know what I did with my safety glasses. I guess I should have just put my sunglasses on. That probably would have helped too. Thank you for the follow. Hey, you joined. Just makes me think of the Fawns. Or Got 7. Hey. Hey, it's only 39 minutes left finally. I'm ready to play a game. Don't get me wrong, I love stitching, but I usually only play games on the weekends, so that's what I was going to do. I wanted to play Assassin's Creed. It is my creed. Yeah, probably. Because since I had to wait anyways, I was like, you know what? I will just do a live and I will stitch with some people or stitch by myself if nobody joins. And my favorite is Odyssey. I have platinumed that game and I still play it all the time. I've got like almost 630 hours gameplay just in that one game. I absolutely love it. Origins would probably be my second favorite. I enjoyed Shadows quite a bit, but at the same time, I also feel like they didn't do enough either because, being the whole Japanese theme and everything, there's so much culture that they could have added extra into all of that, and I feel like they just lacked a little bit. See, I haven't played Syndicate yet, and my sister told me that, Black Flag was her favorite, and, I kept seeing people, playing the Resynced. Well, before the Resynced came out, I think was when they had the OG Black Flag on sale on PlayStation, and I bought it for like $4.99, and I still have yet to play that one either, but that's next on my list if I actually take a break from Odyssey. I want to play it, but at the same time, I'm really bad with the ship battles. Although I have gotten a lot better, wouldn't you say so?
No.
The ship battles.
Mhm.
I've gotten a lot better. But the reason that Odyssey is my favorite is because of how open world and how many quests there are. I am a quest WHRE, I guess would be the best way to put it. And like, I will literally go around to all of the different areas and I will grab every quest that I can find and I will do those and then go back to the quest boards and do the more and more and more. And like, I love how it's pretty much never ending. That's my favorite part. That's why I like it so much. See, I'm a little bit OCD, and so like my brain wants to grab all of the quests because I don't want to leave stuff undone. And so that's why I end up doing more. My husband's like, you realize you're level such and such and you haven't even progressed in story, right? And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm doing quests. I'm unlocking map. I'm sitting at like level 87 and I'm, doing another gameplay through. And so I still haven't finished the actual story on this playthrough and I'm sitting at level 87. I haven't even made it to all of the islands either. I might do another one tomorrow for a little while, but I'm going to be out of town for work and other stuff next week. So it probably won't be till closer to the end of the week next week if I don't do one tomorrow. Like maybe late Friday or Thursday evening or Friday afternoon sometime next week. If I don't manage to do one tomorrow. Like when I do it during the week, I tend to do it more in the evenings. So like, between 7 and like 8 is generally when I do it. I stay on for about an hour or so. See, because right now where I'm at, it's almost 2:30 p.m. But like during the during the weekends, if I do lives, it's generally actually in the morning time. So a lot of times I'll start between 7 and 9 a.m. in the mornings on the weekends. The PlayStation stuff is the only reason that, I even did a live this late. Even though technically, it's not late. It's really not. Hey, that's totally fine. I'm glad that I do understand that. I've had a few friends that had some decent time differences, and I totally get that. But I do tend to, I try and post sped up videos at least a couple of times a week, and I try and do a progress picture every evening that I do stitch. Oh, that's not bad then. An hour is not bad at all. Now, being in the UK, that is a little bit of a time difference. But I definitely, see, that's a decent time difference. Not horrible, but enough. That's one of my favorite times of the day, because 8/22 is my anniversary date. Thank you for the follow. You're a doll. And that was a very, very bad joke. So I'm sorry. Don't unfollow me because of that joke. It's exactly my type of joke. I actually have a tattoo of my wedding date on my chest above my heart, and it's done as a cross stitch. So when my sister was doing the tattoo, I let her pick like the colors that she used gradient wise in like blues and purples, but she did it all as X's because, I'm a cross stitcher. And she said that was one of the most satisfying tattoos that she's done. I was like, see, you like cross stitching too. Okay, there is another square done with black. That's 3 squares that I've done since starting this live. So I think that's a pretty good dent in some black work. That is 206 stitches. It helps when you're doing a color, that's got a large amount altogether, because then you're able to just kind of, that is a lot of black work. I think it was a little over 7,000 stitches of black work in this one, which actually isn't as bad as some of the others. So like number 24, it's like, I think it's like a lavenderish color, has almost 12,000 stitches just in that one color. And you would think that, black would be a very predominant stitch count. And I was thinking that was probably going to be the highest stitch count. And then when it wasn't, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe there are colors higher in stitch count than black. But then, 3865 is, I think, one of the next highest amounts, and it was over 12,000 stitches on that. So I'm like, black and white had a pretty decent amount of stitches. I think, let me look real quick. I'm actually down to only 4,200 left on the black. But I want to say 747, which is like a really light blue. It has 12,159. And then let's see. 3606, which is a really light pink, has 11,308. But I think there was like 7 colors that had over 10,000 stitches on them. So like 3865 is 12,228, and then B5200 has 12,628. So a lot of the higher numbered stitches are lighter colors. It's kind of crazy thinking about how many stitches are in some of these colors, or how many colors. Yeah, no. The way I said it the first time, I think, was correct. My brain is starting to turn to mush. There was one day last week that I stitched, I think it was like almost 2,500 stitches that day. Yeah, 310 in my, like, just what I've seen a lot of, 310 does tend to be one of the highest counts. That's why I've got the, as Adam put it, the cone of shame. But my friend bought me the 310 cone since I use so much black. Oh man, when it's a bunch of confetti, I generally work one color at a time. So I try and do, at first, I try and pick the color that is the most dominant in it. I think it was 1, 2, 3 stitch is where she ordered the cone. Oh my gosh, that's kind of worrisome if there's supposed to be 310 there and you haven't found it yet. That is a little scary to think about. But yeah, I think it was 1, 2, 3 stitch that she bought the cone from. And I think it was $32. I'm not sure what that would be in pounds. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I thought that's what it was, but I wasn't 100% sure. I was very thankful for that. She also bought this Aida that I'm using too. She ordered it since it was the largest piece that she had found that, we didn't have to order in bulk. Although I've been, working on trying to make. Yes. Once I pick my color that has like the most predominant color, I will work that whole color first and then kind of do the confetti all around that using that main color as my landmarks. So that way I am less likely to get off on my count. So I do tend to travel a lot. I'm a very cross country stitcher, especially when it comes to confetti, because you don't want to have to stop and start a color so many times for like a one-off stitch here and there. It's To me, it's just an easier way to go about it. And a lot of people are like, oh, the back of the back of the project, it's not going to look as nice when you're going cross country like that. Yes, maybe the back of the stitch doesn't look as nice, but I don't mind showing the back of my stitches and the way that they look. It is totally fine for me to show because I'm not afraid. But I also tell people that the back of your project is your own business. If you are happy with the way it looks on the front of the project, then don't worry about what the back looks like. I will say that when I started doing the loop start method and then using the pin stitch to end my threads, that the back of my project did start looking a lot better, just because I didn't have to worry about weaving in as many ends. Because before, when I first learned, I didn't really know anything. I was mostly self-taught, kind of watched my mom. And so I would, start with my tail over the back, and then I would, just work over that tail to lock it in place, and then I would weave in my ends once I got finished. Well, I don't really do that anymore. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm not sure where would be another place. But I'm sure if you look, like just do a little bit of research, you may be able to find one now that you kind of know. Like if you know what to look for, then you may be more likely to actually find somewhere that will ship to you. But it definitely sucks not being able to get it shipped to you. I think next is a cone of B5200 would be the next one that I would want to get, since it's another one that I use a lot of, especially working on Black Ada. I will say that's just so hard. It's satisfying though. Going from black on white to white on black. It's like it, in my opinion, it hits differently when I'm looking at it with my brain. Like it's almost kind of like an itch that you haven't been able to scratch for a long time. It's satisfying. Now, do I want to stitch on Black Ada all the time? Absolutely not, because boy, that gives my eyes a run for their money. But it can be so satisfying. I really hope you're able to find somewhere that does, though. I will keep my fingers crossed for you. That sucks, though, that it's probably more expensive doing it that way. I think at that point I would see the difference in price, buying just the skeins versus the cone, and see if it's even worth it to spend the money that way. Oh, I missed one. Right there. Yeah, it may end up being cheaper for you to buy it just by the skein. Yeah, it's not one that, I would have just spent the money on myself. So I was thankful that my friend got it for me. Yeah, I mean, I've been using it. She got it for me like 6 months ago, and I have barely put a dent in it. Even with all of the black that I've done. So it lasts a long time. Okay, I see a piece of glitter on my 8 and it was bugging me. Hey, sometimes you just gotta. Birthday money is there for a reason. It's like sometimes we just don't have adult money to spend on adult projects. But if we can just save for our birthday stuff, then okay, well, you're not using adult money. You get to use, fun money. I'm working on 18 count right now. Personally, I've found that that's kind of my sweet spot. I can downsize the overall project a tiny bit, but I can still see what I'm working on as long as I have my glasses on. And I do agree that girl math, is free money when you get gifts. So like I use receipt scanning apps, and I make points back that, can be turned into gift cards. And that's how I actually pay for a lot of the setup that I've done for all of my cross stitch stuff. The phone that I'm using to film on, all of my actual storage for my threads and everything like that. It's how I paid for all of them. So I just save up a little bit at a time. I get like Amazon gift cards from it, and then I'll order my supplies on Amazon. I think I end up making a couple $100 back just scanning my receipts a year that I put towards this. And then I also have it's like I guess you could say a rewards program at work, and we get points when like we do a good job. My boss can, give out points, and you can use them on our work site to buy, certain things. I always do the gift cards, and I, put that towards it too. See, I always thought that was really cool. I ended up buying a like a dresser type thing that has drawers, and I bought the foam inserts and the the bobbins, like the numbered bobbins and everything. And I just made my own setup. So my I have a pinned video on my profile that shows like my thread setup. But I've also bought, I'm going to take you off my stand for a minute so I can show you. So I bought these drawer storage cabinets. I bought 2 of them. And so then, you know, I have it set up to where I can put my extras. So if I have, you know, extras of any of those colors, then I just have a place that I can put all of my overstock. But then my cabinet over there has drawers that has all of my, you know, bobbins that are already spooled. And that makes it a lot easier to be able to just pick my colors that I need and, you know, put everything back whenever I'm finished with a project and I get ready to start my next one. And I paid for all of that with gift cards. I don't like spending out of pocket if I can help it. Yes, it's very, very true. So like I used the points to cash out from work, and I had, it was like $230 worth. And so I actually only spent $56 out of pocket on this scroll frame. That's the only reason that I had went ahead and bought that, because it was very little out of pocket. My suggestion, find all of the stuff that you really want to invest in and put it in a wish list on Amazon. And then as you're able to save up, like start slowly and pick one of the items off of your wish list and buy that piece. That's what I did. So it took me a while. It took me over a year to get all of the pieces that I wanted for my storage and my setup. But once I did, that's, you know, that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm pretty happy with my storage that I've got. See, I've done that too. So like just had them all open on different tabs. That way I could decide, oh, hey. But if you put them in your wish list, then, you know, you get an email if they go on sale, and you may end up, you know, catching a better sale because it notified you. That's how I ended up getting a couple of them, because I had that, I had them in my wish list, and then it would say, oh, hey, this has had a price drop. That is true. At least if you have them in your tabs, then all you got to do is just click from one to the next. But yeah, I spent weeks and weeks going through different, you know, storage types to find the ones that ultimately I ended up deciding on. Pros and cons, I looked at a lot of them, was just going through reviews and seeing if, you know, people had issues with any of this stuff before I bought it. I do agree, smarter, not harder. And I tell people that I work with that all the time. I'm like, look, I love my job, but I also don't want to work harder. So if you kind of use my set up as a guideline and then make it your own. See what works best for you. That's the best way to go about it. So if tabs work better for you, then great. See, that's awesome. I do like the Nerge hoops, the square ones. I don't like working larger projects on them because I don't like the way it leaves lines in the Aida. Even if I'm going to be washing it and pressing it, sometimes it ends up like smashing the stitches when you have to, move it to a different area. And for me specifically, I don't like that. So what I end up doing is I tend to only use those for smaller projects that I know I'm not going to have to move my not have to move the hoop at all for. So I think it's 4 different sizes of the Nerge hoops. That's one way to do it. I never thought about just taking it out each evening. And I've never heard it called hoop burn before, and that's freaking awesome. I love that. I used to call it the Ring of Doom. And then I would go, doom on you. Yes. Seriously, like using the Nerge hoops was definitely a game changer because I've always hated working in hoops because I could never end up keeping them tight enough for me personally. I really like a rigid workspace. So like watching people that don't even use like scrolls, they just, hold it in their hands and work. I can't even fathom how they do it because I feel like I would never be able to get my stitches as uniform as they are. I'm just always in awe of people that work it that way. Yay. That is really hilarious. All right. Now, I've got to move back up a little bit. Because that's actually the bottom of the black that in this section. So now I have to go back up. See, and that's what I don't like about working in a hoop. I hated constantly not having it tight enough. It bothered me so much. So when I ended up getting this wooden frame, I was super happy to see that it had the notches. So it's got the actual notch. Let me zoom out a little bit. So it's got a notch in the wood, and this piece holds it in that notch. So it actually keeps it tightened a lot better than a regular wooden scroll that just has, it's split across. This isn't split all the way across. It's literally just a notch in it. And that was a game changer for me as far as like the wooden scrolls. And I absolutely loved that fact of it. It made it so much more satisfying to be able to hold it tighter. It would be even better if I had, I would have been okay to keep the wooden scroll if I had had one big enough to work on this piece. But it's still not big enough by almost double the size. That's how big this one is. that's why I've done a lot of, I spent weeks just scrolling through and adding stuff to my wish list and then narrowing it down. And then, when I decided, oh, hey, okay, the reviews on this one wasn't as good, then I would delete that one off the wish list and then keep the other ones and then work my way down until I ended up, settling on the ones that I have. Oh, I feel like I'm getting yawned. Uh-oh. No. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and end my live because it is actually finished. So I'm going to actually get to play now. You may try and look in like the embroidery sizes or like the ones for what you call it, actually doing like blankets and stuff, and see if you can find one. Hey, that's good though. You're really close to, that 100 that you were hoping to get. So you're almost there. But thanks for joining me and, spending so much time chatting. And if you don't, you definitely should, take progress pictures and post them. That way we can all follow and like your progress as well. You definitely should. I love seeing progress pictures. Yay! I'll definitely check later then. But thanks, guys. I did end up getting, it says I got 269 stitches done. So overall, I have managed to hit 0.84% done on this pattern as of right now. That's where I'm sitting at. So it's not too bad. But I will try and see about maybe doing another live tomorrow for a little while. Probably won't be as long, but at least to do some, because I'm hoping to get over into this section. There's a lot of more black that goes kind of down in almost like a horseshoe type shape. So I'm going to see about getting a little bit more of that done tomorrow. But thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you guys later.